All right, let's dive right in. Today we're talking about a threat to your AI systems it's designed to bypass pretty much all of your current defenses. It's a huge blind spot for most security teams, and we're going to put a spotlight right on it. I want to start with a really direct question for every security leader out there. You've spent all this time, all this budget securing your AI models, but what if their memory, the very knowledge they depend on, is actively lying to them? What if the data they pull up is basically a Trojan horse? And that is the risk we're digging into today. You see, while everyone's focused on protecting the large language model itself, the AI's brain, a totally new attack vector has popped up. It doesn't target the brain, it targets the library. It operates at the retrieval layer, and that's a place most security teams just aren't looking. So yeah, we're calling this a new AI blind spot. It's a really subtle but incredibly powerful way to hijack your AI's answers without ever directly attacking the model or messing with its prompts. The attack has a name, embedding manipulation. And honestly, the best way to get your head around it is with an analogy. Think of your AI as a GPS. When you ask it for something, it figures out the coordinates and then tells you what's at that location. Well, this attack is like an adversary putting a fake, malicious store on the map at the exact coordinates your GPS is built to look for. Your AI, just like that GPS, confidently sends you to the wrong place because the map itself has been poisoned. So let's talk about how this internal GPS, what the experts call RAG, actually works. Because once you understand this, you'll see the vulnerability crystal clear. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Traditional search, it just looks for keywords. But RAG, that's Retrieval Augmented Generation, is a whole different ballgame. It turns your question into a set of mathematical coordinates, an embedding, and then it scans its database for content with similar coordinates. It's finding meaning, not just words. And that's brilliant, but it's also the heart of the problem. The system doesn't know what's true or false. It only understands mathematical closeness. And because it's all based on math, an attacker who understands that math can start poisoning the well. They can actually craft their malicious content so it's guaranteed to land at specific coordinates, just lying in wait for your AI to come looking for an answer. And let's be super clear on this. This is not prompt injection. They're totally different things. Prompt injection is like a frontal assault on the LLM itself. Embedding manipulation, it's way more subtle. Think of it as a supply chain attack on your AI's knowledge. The poison is already in the data before the AI even gets it. The LLM has no idea it's been fed bad information. So attackers have basically four main plays for poisoning this map. First, there's semantic proximity. That's just putting their fake store in a busy, legitimate neighborhood hoping for a hit. Second, adversarial crafting. This is way more precise, like a master forger building a fake store at the exact GPS coordinates of the real one. Third, metadata manipulation. This is like faking the business license and all the 5-star reviews to make the fake store look totally legit. And finally, the most sophisticated one, a collision attack. This is where they create a perfect counterfeit of the real store's location data, making it mathematically identical. It's almost impossible to spot. Okay, so how in the world do you defend against someone who can literally manipulate the map your AI uses to navigate? Well, it's not one single fix. It takes a defense-in-depth strategy with security checks at every single step. Here's the framework for that defense. It all starts with really strong ingestion controls. Think of it as a bouncer at the door of your knowledge base. Next up is embedding validation, checking those GPS coordinates for anything weird before they get stored. After that, you've got retrieval filtering, which is a final check to make sure you're not just blindly trusting the math. And wrapping around all of this is continuous monitoring to catch anything that might have slipped through the cracks. I want to pause here because this quote from the source material is honestly the single most important takeaway. Content that never enters your database can never be retrieved maliciously. It's that simple. Prevention is so much more powerful than detection when it comes to this front. So let's double down on that idea. Your absolute #1 priority has to be locking down ingestion. This is your single biggest point of leverage. It's how you stop these attacks before they even get started. If you only take one thing away from this entire explainer, please make it this: secure the front door. Go back to your teams and ask them two simple but critical questions. First, how are we securing the entry point to our AI's knowledge base? And second, what is our process for validating information before it becomes a part of our AI's memory? And that conversation should really focus on this 3-step action plan. First, you have to verify all your content sources, know exactly where your data is coming from. Second, start assigning trust scores based on a source's reputation. And third, you need to implement automated content analysis before you index anything to scan for the fingerprints of manipulation. So I'll leave you with this final question to take back to your organization. You've worked so hard to secure your AI, but have you done enough to secure its memory? Because at the end of the day, if an attacker can control what your AI remembers, they control what it says.